Welcome back. Thank you for clicking on today's video. Today we're going to do our first example of an ANOVA using R to perform our analysis for us so we don't have to do it by hand. On the right-hand side of the screen, you will see my prep work for using Fred to do this ANOVA. And then on the left-hand side of the screen, you can see the code that I'm going to be using. So in the beginning, what we have here is just fave stats for the amount of time each year studies. So we have the mean for that group, we have the standard deviation, and then the sample size. So I need to name my populations, and then that will help me to name my samples, and then subsequently my different parameters. So I'm just going to go in order. So I'm going to say that the freshman GVSU students is going to be population 1. Sophomore GVSU students will be population 2. Junior GVSU students will be population 3. Senior GVSU students, population 4. And then graduate GVSU students will be population 5. So then for my sample, I have 517 freshman GVSU students for sample 1. And then for sample 2, I have 285 sophomore GVSU students. And then I have 563 junior GVSU students and 870 senior GVSU students, and then finally 21 graduate GVSU students. So that is all exactly the same as what we've done before, as is the definition of mu. So we have mean study time per day for freshman GVSU students as mu1, because that is our population 1. So then we have mean study time for sophomore GVSU students as mu2. We have mean study time for GVSU seniors as mu3 or 4. You get the picture. So then when we do this, when we do our null and alternative, we have mu1 equals mu2 equals mu3 equals Actaliba. Should have done it that way. Hold the phone. There we go. Equals mu3 equals mu4 equals mu5. So that is our null. But remember, for the alternative, you're just saying, so that is different than saying mu1 doesn't equal mu2, doesn't equal mu3, doesn't equal mu4, doesn't equal mu5, because that would mean that all of them have to be different from one another. But we just need one mean to be different for us to be able to see evidence for the alternative. So then reviewing conditions, we're going to run these other two pieces of code right here. So I have a histogram and a box plot. So remember that the data needs to be symmetric relative to the sample size. So this is really, it's not symmetric, but they're very big sample sizes, so I'm not really concerned with that. So we would say that, so for this, it's asymmetric, right? We have asymmetry, it's asymmetric, and there are outliers, but with sample size, condition is met. Okay, because yes, it's there. Yes, it's asymmetric. Yes, there are outliers, but relative to the sample size, I'm okay with what we're seeing there. The other one that remember is new is that the variation in the data within each group is about the same. So I would say that that's true because you can see that the size of these box plots are really fairly similar. Yes, graduate students is a little bigger because they don't have as big of a sample size, but I think that that's close enough that we can say our conditions are met. So then the next part I'm going to do is run this ANOVA. Now for all of these, you'll notice, and this was true for the past R's, you have the variable that you are using as the quantitative variable coming in first, and then the tilde, and then the grouping variable. So that would be year. So here's our analysis, and you'll notice in executing this calculation that your values that are shown are a little bit different than what's shown in the textbook, because it doesn't have both the within group degree of freedom and between groups degrees of freedom, but that's fine. It does give us the F, and then that last part is the p-value. So because the p-value is not small, we would say that we fail to reject the null. And then, so when you fail to reject, you say there is insufficient evidence that for all GVSU students the mean study time in hours per day for at least 1 year. So freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, and graduate is not equal to the others. So that is essentially what our alternative is, and we are discussing the different populations by stating all GVSU students and then which groups we have for that, and we're saying insufficient because we failed to reject. See you in future videos.